So I found this game on Steam. Oh, it starts right away, huh? No cutscene or anything? Can you go away, please? I don't care about Steam right now. So this game is called Narcissu. I don't know anything about this game. Produced by Stage, Nana, 2005-2007. See, Tomo Kataoka from Japan. All I know is that there's a cute girl right there. That's Narcissu, and apparently this game is about death. This is literally what I read in the bio. This sounds depressing, so let's play. Start. What? Ooh, that's interesting. I'm gonna choose the first one. What? What did Puma? We always keep insanity spirit. I got that. How about voiced? Huh? Ooh, 2001. Oh, shit. What the Oh, this is already... we barely just started. Holy shit. Oh, spring 1996, Satsumi. Okay. Even so, I attended elementary school like all the others, and during summer breaks, I often played until I was utterly tanned. Hey, where the voice is at? You said this is voiced. June, shortly after my entry into middle school, the day after I'd ordered a swimsuit for use the next month, my first hospitalization. On a day just before the first semester midterms, on a day where the first drops of rain were so cruelly cold. Falling from amidst the pure white of the overcast sky. Of course, the first time it happened. All my classmates came to visit me almost every day, and when I was released, they even came to my house on weekends to play. But that was only the first time around. Autumn into winter, winter into spring, a vicious cycle. Hospitalization, release, clinics, and hospitalization again. And before I knew it, even the classmates I once called friends turned into acquaintances, and then into strangers, as if with every changing of seasons, I was being erased from their collective memory. What the shit? Oh. No. What? Eight years later, early summer 2004, protagonist. Summer of flowing sweat. The gigantic electronic scoreboard in the driver's license examination facility lit up all at once. My eyes and everyone else's looked for our respective numbers. 237, 237. And with some 8 columns of lit text, sure enough, my examination number was shining in the midst. Clickety-clack. A nearly empty train car, perhaps thanks to the beautiful afternoon. Almost alone in that train car. I was heading back home from the examination hall. My left hand held a new traffic regulations handbook, and my breast pocket held my brand new driver's license. So now I've got a license as well. I muttered somewhat happily, but there were no strong feelings behind it. I never particularly wanted to drive a car. I never particularly had any motive for it. It was just that my colleagues in the Technical Institute both recommended that I at least get a driver's license. That night, when I told my parents that I'd gotten my license, they merely replied with an "I see." What the fuck are these parents? I see? They just got their license! It's like their fucking life! And when I asked if I could borrow the car just for a test run, they instantly and curtly just said one thing. No. While I didn't really want to drive the car or anything, the response was all too expected. Those were my parents for you. The next day, I woke with chest pain and went to the hospital. Sickness and I generally had nothing to do with each other, which is why I found the ER waiting room to be utterly boring. And just when I thought they were through examining me, they ordered an x-ray and some blood tests, then they left. And again, I was left waiting for a long time. I'd already polished off 3 volumes of Shonen Jump, and was just about to start on a 4th one. They had admitted me to the hospital right then and there. And it seemed that my new license, which still lay snugly in my breast pocket, would have to wait a long time for its turn to come. Protagonist Autumn 2004. Right around when the all too noisy cicadas have finally gone silent, I once again found myself in the hospital, as per usual. Of course, it wasn't as if I'd been there the entire time. I came and went, a futile cycle. My first surgery was a month before. After that, I started doing the 5-minute commute to and from the hospital by moped. And from then on, I was hospitalized, discharged, ordered to a clinic, and hospitalized again and again and again. While I still had no clue what PET or IRESA stood for. In no time at all, several months had already passed. As my appetite decreased, my medications increased. I could feel my own physical strength trophying away. I kept imagining that my legs were getting thinner, but the needle of the weight scale rudely informed me, it's not just your imagination. And yet I kept looking on at myself with detached interest, as if it were happening to somebody else entirely, as if I were looking at a scene on TV or the like. My mind could not grasp what had so suddenly happened to my body. Nothing within me was telling me that this was real at all, and that's why, even though it was all happening to me, I kept looking on as if it were happening to someone far away. Winter 2004. A day of winter, around when the Christmas trees had vanished from the streets. I was discharged home as a kind of year's end treat. It seemed like an exercise in total transience, but still it made me slightly happy. I traveled back to a home I had not seen in a long time in the midst of a freezing rain. Strangely enough, my entire family was there. My parents, who had never so much as talked to me, came out to meet me, if with terribly stilted smiles. And my little sister, with whom I'd never had a pleasant word, had made my favorite cream stew and fried shrimps just for me. Aww. They made me sit at the table. They peeled tangerines for me. They were cruelly kind. It was an impressive display. At this point, a little thought occurred to me about my new driver's license, which was still stuffed away in my pocket. That perhaps things would end for the license without it ever having known any use. And surrounded by a trio of still distrained smiles, I kept that thought as if it were someone else's business, with dispassion, ambiguity, and total disinterest. January 2005. A new year began and I returned to the hospital. But on this day, instead of my usual 4F room, I ended up in a conference room of sorts. They took me there. And then my father and the doctors had a little talk. I joined in. Oh, they talked to me. So this was their so-called announcement. They said in a terribly roundabout fashion, but they told me that I was going to die. I see. What? That was my only reply. I had no other words. It was the only thing that left my mouth from beginning to end. And the doctor's ballpoint pens flew across paper as if in response to my words. Those were probably hospice enrollment procedures, business-like to the last. My father was the same. So it's this simple. was the only real thought that I had. That day, I was transferred from 4F to 7F, from a 6-person room to a private room. It was a little different from the other wards at this 7F. First of all, the floors were sparkling clean, and second of all, the ceiling was higher than I'd ever seen it. The rooms were very nice and had large windows from which the warm daylight streamed in as if by design, but the windows only opened a little. I tested them out, and my head would just barely fit out of one. The color of my ID bracelet had changed as well. The bracelet that I had worn ever since that first hospitalization, the one that had my name and blood type recorded on it, its color had now changed from blue to white. A high ceiling, a white vinyl bracelet, a window that would not open more than 15 centimeters. The TV programs celebrating the new year were still playing when I was transferred to the 7F, and it was at the dawn of that very new year that I met her for the first time.
Narcissus. Fuyu. 7階.
Oh. It was this place kind of like a lounge at one side of the corridor across from the nurse's station. This generally a deserted place held a few couches and chairs as well as a large TV. Stupid programs commemorating the rule. Fuck. God damn it. My touchy ass finger. And there was it probably wasn't important. And there was a girl who looked absolutely bored watching that absolutely boring TV. Short, in pink pajamas, a white bracelet on her wrist, just like mine. Impressively long hair that almost reached down to her hips. Hey, do you find that interesting? There was no deep purpose in the asking. Simply, I had nothing else to do, so I started talking to her. Not really, was her only reply to me. She didn't turn to face me at all. And she kept looking on with boredom at that TV as if I didn't even exist. And to watch it. Even as I thought this, I sat down in a chair next to her. And side by side we watched TV. Nothing else to do. Nothing we could do. So we sat there silently and watched TV. New Year's celebration programs as per usual. A useless array of comedians and oddities. And ever so often the MC's stupid shrill laughter resounding dryly in this white sun-drenched lounge. The girl suddenly started talking to me, but her eyes were as always glued to the TV screen. What do you mean by that? Sorry, I have no clue what you're talking about. So she'd seen my confusion about a question and come to the right conclusion. Duty? Nodding slightly, she explained that the rule was that someone here, 7F, should tell newcomers the truth. I knew nothing, I understood even less, and as if I did not even exist, she slowly started her speech. Her words, spoken methodically, one by one, were a little different from all the ones I've heard from the doctors about this place. In their business-like, crisp syntaxes, they've told me this is a place where one waits for medical advances. This is a place where one heals one's heart. And perhaps they might have been correct in a general sense. But according to the girl, this was just the party line. The truth was that this 7F was the only place in the hospital where medical treatments did not take place. This was just a place where you waited for your life to come to an end. Those were her words to me. I'd thought so as well. I'd felt it even before she'd spoken. Second time doing what? And then she explained to me that nobody on 7F stayed here from initial hospitalization all the way until death. While there was zero possibility of being cured, you were sent home if your condition was stable. But if it worsened again, you would be returned here. That cycle ended only in death. Whether it was at home or here on 7F, always one of the two you were going to die. No way to escape it, it seemed. And with that meaning permeating her every word, she informed me that this was her second time up here. She continued speaking, all the while staring at the blank TV screen. This wasn't idle chit-chat about when lights out was or where the kitchen was or anything like that. This was something completely different. The third time you are discharged home, resign yourself. There won't be a fourth time. You will never go home again. Wow. If you ever want to escape, head toward the B station, not the A station. Eat nothing. That is the simplest shortcut. You leave the smallest burden on your family that way. Holy shit. It was as if she was packed to the brim with manners like those. This was probably an oral tradition, relevant only to those who were going to die, and kept by those who came here for that purpose. So is this the duty that you were talking about? With those words, she slowly stood up. She casually tossed her long hair and it grazed my nose. My God. As she turned her back and started walking down the corridor, now completely deserted, save for me. The lounge held only the laughter from the TV and the white flowers by the windowsill. In the end, she didn't even look at me once. Wow. January 10th, 2005, a few days later. New Year celebrations were over and the middle and high school students were beginning a new term. And just as ever, she and I sat in this lounge staring blankly at the TV. This is boring. So we said, but both of us kept our eyes on the screen. Hey, is this place always this way? I'm getting at how it's always deserted. Other than the nurses, doctors, and help staff, and other than her, I'd not seen a single person. Did everybody go home for the new year or something? Oh well, I didn't mean... Well, we who disinterestedly tossed back and forth this exchange that could not even be called a conversation. A slight breeze coming from the window that would not open more than 15 centimeters. From time to time her hair would sway, and as if in agreement the flowers at the windowsill would too. This was how we killed time day after day, staring at that boring good-for-nothing TV. Oh, here of you are, an elderly nurse said as she rushed toward us. From what I'd seen of the nurse's station, she was apparently the charge nurse of 7F. Well, Miss Setsumi, any fever? Setsumi. So that was her name. You really shouldn't be moving around like this. Do you understand? Everyone's worried about you. Come now, what kind of answer is that? Oh, children these days. The nurse continued to scold and henpeck for some while longer, and the girl named Setsumi, just pretended not to notice at all. She simply stared straight forward at that boring TV, paying that fussy nurse as little heed as she could. I'll be coming later to draw some blood, okay? With those words, the charge nurse went back to the nurse's station. Hey, well, mind if I call you Setsumi? I asked this as I stared at her white vinyl ID bracelet and at the blood type and the name written therein. Is something the matter, Setsumi? Huh? Hey, why am I younger than you? It It wasn't that I was offended that she called me younger than her. It was just that no matter how I looked at it, I thought I was 5 to 6 older than she was. That's why I took out my driver's license from my breast pocket and handed it directly to her. See, I may not seem it, but I'm 20. She only took a glance at my license before handing it back to me. I don't really get what you're saying. She murmured as expressionlessly as ever. Her eyes were fixed on that boring TV, alright, but it also felt as if she was gazing at something far away. I don't know what to say. After they'd taken my AM vital signs, I snuck past the nurses and boarded the elevator. When I got to IF, I walked out the outpatient clinic doors and walked outside of the hospital. My goal was the place that I'd been told about not long ago, the faraway B station, not the nearby A station. It wasn't that I wanted to escape or anything. At 7F or at home, none of us died anywhere else. That's what I'd been told. And this B station, which this girl named Setsumi had apparently been to many times. That's why, at least just once, I wanted to see this place with my own eyes. It's not as if they're going to be on a guard on duty. Even so, we were inhabitants of 7F, different from other inpatients. And thinking of vague maybes so early in the morning, I headed toward that station. My legs settled into a lazy gait as I glanced sidelong at the people commuting to school or work. After about 25 minutes of this, I arrived in front of the station, roughly 4 bus stops away when I calculated it out. Wow, there are a lot of people here, was my first impression of the B station. I stood out a bit because I was in pajamas, but I felt that if I could just buy a subway ticket, I'd be able to go anywhere, no question about it. I still had no idea why I'd been told to go to the B station, not the A station, but it looked as if it would be easy to escape if I really wanted to. She must have come here many times herself, so why did she remain on 7F right now? The station in the early morning. I stood there, thinking these thoughts, as I watched the people rapidly pass me by. That night, after lights out, bored of manga and unable to sleep, I wandered through the hospital alone. Certainly it wasn't supposed to be allowed after lights out, but we of 7F had a peculiar kind of liberty. So in the presence of no light, in the pitch-black stillness of the lounge, that was where I found her. Hey, have you been looking outside today? The darkened interior, she did answer me, but she continued to stare out the window as if she had not. I immediately launched into what had happened today. Oh, by the way, I went out to the station today. The B station, just as you taught me. But her response did not change. I thought that she'd react with something because she'd been there before too. But now that I thought about it, did the fact that she was here mean that she had no intention of escaping in the first place? What? She opened her mouth abruptly and spoke as if she'd seen right through me. Oh? Yeah, I guess. Probably what she was talking about was a temporary discharge from the hospital. She told me that nobody was discharged from 7F more than 3 times. Unlike the elderly, given the progress of our diseases, this meant all the more to young people like us. Her "we may not see each other again" was filled with that kind of meaning. Oh. Decided on? When that word death came up so abruptly, I was at a total loss for words. I don't know. Haven't thought about it yet. She murmured, looking desolate. Certainly, it wasn't as if I was going to exist here forever. Just like everyone else, I would be admitted and discharged, slowly growing weak, and someday I would have to choose in the end. Here on 7F or at home surrounded by those fake smiles.
私はだけどここも嫌
Then what will you do?
別にどうもしない自力で歩けるうちにどこかに行くだけ
Somewhere? You can't be. This girl who was staying here on 7F, where she could have escaped any time she wanted. When I thought of that, do you have any other place to go?
あなた私を引き止めたいの
What?
それとも一緒についてきたいの
Well, no, that wasn't what I was thinking about.
じゃあ聞かないで
She was staring out the window as she spoke, dispassionate, not looking at me once, the same as ever. But then and just then, her usual expressionless face looked so very sad to me. I was a newcomer to 7F, just recently taught that the third discharge was the last. And she was a girl who soon was to be just discharged for the second time. I still did not feel anything real about what was happening to me. But would I too come to wear such a face someday? Oh my god. I don't know how to feel about this. I've been recording for 25 minutes and it's just felt like an eternity. The rain at morning twilight. Sometimes sleet, sometimes snow, always coming down. And I was sitting there watching TV in my usual place. 7F felt as devoid of people as it always had.
面白い
No, completely boring. She walked to my side. Saying no more, she sat down in a chair next to me. And that was how we began watching TV on this very day as well. She was probably in the same boat as me. Nothing else to do, nothing we could do. I had never seen her respond to the TV before. Is something the matter?
別に
Those were her usual words, but her response was anything but usual. And I looked at the screen, interested in anything that could move her so. They were nature scenes being displayed on TV, beautiful hills and dales burgeoning with trees and flowers. In a vase spread of white flowers in the midst. I remember those flowers from somewhere. They looked very similar to the white flowers that decorate the windowsills. Could those be the same flowers? You know, the same as those over there. I pointed to the flowers by the window as I said this.
違う
Huh, really?
種類は同じだけど厳密に言えば違う
She glanced at the flowers by the window for a second, and then went back to gazing at the TV. She told me that they were different, but I couldn't see the distinction between the two. And it meant nothing to me whether the flowers were the same or different. But what did mean something was this girl who usually never said a word more than she needed to. She was conversing in rare form today, which was why I decided to follow along. Do you happen to know a lot about them? Flowers, that is.
別に
Really? But I don't see the difference. The flowers on the screen and the flowers in the vase to her side. I continued to talk as I stared vacantly at the two. Look. Are these orchids or lilies? See, they're pure white, right? I had no interest, yet I kept trying to make conversation. But she resumed her silence soon enough. And with her usual lack of expression, she continued staring at the boring TV screen. And just when I turned back to the TV, resigned to the fact that I'd get nothing more out of her.
Narcissus.
Oh. Oh. Wow. What?
Narcissus よ。
As she answered, she turned to face me for the first time. She's adorable. Oh. Her hip-length hair swaying. She pointed at the TV screen and looked at me. The ID bracelet on her wrist was white. Her skin was white, just like the flowers on screen. And I swore I could see a tiny smile on that face that was looking at me for the first time. Wow. Wow. Okay. Well, I didn't think I was going to be playing this game more than once, but holy shit. That... Whoa. This is a good one. This is a good one. I am going to play this. I am. This is a good one. Narcissu. Wow, this is a good story. It really is. It's on Steam for free. There is a sort of DLC, I guess, for a few bucks. I could buy that. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I can do it. I just don't have the money at the moment. But, wow. This is really good. Wow. And I love the 90s, like, feel. Like, it's, oh. And the art style is similar to Clanad. This whole thing reminds me of a really old DVD disc. Chapter 2, The Silver Coupe. So we got done with the prologue, which is her before she went to the hospital to 7F. Chapter 1 was about 7F with the Setsumi girl. And then chapter 2 is the next one, so... Wow. Wow. This is something else. I don't know what to say. I feel a pit in my stomach. Wow. I don't know. Well, I want to see through this. I want to see the story through. So I'm going to stop it here. Thank you very much for watching on the Four Corners channel. This is Brody Jonas, and I will be seeing you next time. Check out the rest of the channel's content, and be sure to subscribe, share with friends and family and all of that. I may not be 100% family friendly, but I do my best to release content for all to just have fun with. I do it, no ads, no monetization. I don't earn a single penny for anything that I do on this channel. Just share with friends about this channel. I really want positivity to spread across anywhere. I just want people to notice that I'm here to stay. Even if the January thing comes into effect for YouTube, I'm still gonna stand strong. I'm gonna still stand as a channel, and I'm gonna do what I love to do. I'm gonna do videos and stuff. So thank you all for watching. This is Brody Jones on the Four Corners TV channel. Goodbye.